Canadian politicians. Check out today's video and let's see how to refresh your deck. Make a tired old deck look like this. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Woodland Reboot. I am not at the Red Barn property today. I'm here in my backyard, and I've got a quick project that I want to knock off the list. The deck in the backyard here is quite weathered. These cedar boards were put in about 6 years ago when the house was built new. They're getting beaten up by the rain, the snow, and the change in temperatures, so I want to refresh them, but lumber prices remain crazy high. The boards are very weathered. The first thing I tried to do was flip over some of the boards to see how they looked on the underside, and I did that with these two boards right here. The grain looks quite good, but there's uneven weathering on the board. So I just decided that since I have a thickness planer, you guys have seen that in this video here, I've decided to just go the extra yard, remove all the boards, plane them, and then reinstall them. This is a pretty quick fix at very low to no cost to refresh the deck, especially at this time when lumber prices remain so high because of the pandemic. Let's get busy. Let's get some of these things off the deck. And I'll get the barbecue off the deck later. I'll have my son help me get that off. Some of the screws, they just countersunk them too far. A lot of grime and grit gets down into the head of the screw, so then the bit can't get in the head, or wood has puffed itself, expanded itself over the head of the screw, making it difficult to try to get it out. I think here's a couple of them right here. And we're just going to roll it. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. That was Junior. Blue is soaking up the sun. So I've removed all the screws that I've been able to get out. There are a number that are stripped that are still in the boards, but I do have a few boards that are completely free. That one's completely free. That's got a screw in it. That's got a screw in it. That's got a screw in it. Free, screw, 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 free. So the majority of the boards have one or two strip screws in them. So I'm going to get at them and cut those boards free using my Sawzall. Gonna need to clean off a little bit of the interior structure of the deck, no problem. Done. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I just swept that off, and what I'm going to do now is sweep these boards and flip them and sweep the backside before I run them through my planer. There's no need to run any garbage through the planer that doesn't need to go through there and dull up the blades. Okay, I'm going to look at the boards very closely to make sure any of those screw heads that didn't come out are recessed deeply enough so they don't damage the blade on the thickness planer. I believe everything is down low, that's why they wouldn't come out. But just double check on these first 5 boards that I'm going to run through. I'm going to say that looks pretty good. Okay, not ideal conditions for using the thickness planer here. I should have it up about 2 or 3 feet off the ground, but it's not a big project, so I'm not worried about it. I'm sure I'm going to get a few comments from everybody out there in terms of how I've rigged up a impromptu discharge to go underneath and hopefully be contained for the most part underneath the blue tarp. Let's see how this works. Okay, I've modified the collection system. It's more of a wall now. Haven't tested it yet. Let's see if that works. I'm really trying to prevent it from spraying onto the artificial grass. And I'm watching to make sure that the thickness planer doesn't walk on these boards that I've got it on. I don't have it anchored to the ground. Not ideal. But again, I think this is going to work. I'm putting the boards and the screws right back in the same spot. Put 4 screws in here, which will be more than enough to keep it safe until I get all the boards in place. First board in. So here's what I do to get these boards exactly back in the place where they came from in terms of the screws. You can see I drive the screw all past the bottom. I find the hole. That screw is now in the hole. See? There's a hole right there. Just adjust the board. I can see the screw underneath there. Drop it into the existing hole and just snug it down. No need to over tighten any of this stuff. It's not going anywhere, guys. And again, there are 2 screws for each joist. I think they're called joists. So there's a lot of things holding these in place. Okay, since we've got these deck boards off, I don't know if you can see in there, but we're just going to have a quick little look. You know, a few cobwebs in there, but that's not going to hurt anything. The ledger board is solid. It's got a nice drip edge underneath it. Everything was installed correctly by the builder. And who's inside there? Can anybody see in through the shadows? Cleaned all the deck boards. I've got all but 4 of them reinstalled. I haven't put all the screws in, but the boards are in nice and safe. What a great decision it was to replane these. You could also sand these, but my experience with sanding is it is a heck of a lot more work that I've just done. And great decision because there's a lot of good wood here. There's no reason to throw this out, no reason to send it off to the landfill, and didn't have to go and spend a load of money on lumber in stores right now that is exceptionally overpriced. It's coming down, but it's still overpriced. All the deck boards are reinstalled. Each board has about 4 screws in each one of them, so they're not all the screws are not all in, but that's safe. And I'm going to get these runners done, but right now I think I've earned a lunch break. Okay, so I've just finished putting on those bottom 2 runner boards. I didn't show you planing of those boards. The reason why I did these boards at a different time than these ones, these are 1.5 inches, these are 1 inch right there. So that required a different setup, just an adjustment on the thickness planer. So I ran these 6 later in the day. Just finished, as I said. That looks a heck of a lot nicer than it did before. I'll give you a before and after shot right now. Have a look at that. It's nice and smooth. And what I'm going to do now is clean up this considerable mess I made and then put on the first coat of deck guard. I'll show you that product in a minute. All right, all tidied up. Now it's time to do a little painting. Here's the deck guard product that I'm going to use.
Start with that and see how far we get.
There's the first coat, the stairs, the deck. That was a pretty intense day of effort there. Quite enjoyed it. It was supposed to be a pretty bad weather day here, actually. It's supposed to be rainy. All we got was sun all day long. Perfect for doing this kind of project. Wipe this off before we put it back in place. So there you have it, everyone. I would call this project a success. The deck has been refreshed and I haven't spent a penny. Now mind you, I had access to a thickness planer. If you've got a friend with a thickness planer, obviously it makes this deck project possible. Having said that, given the price of wood and lumber right now, you could literally purchase a thickness planer if you're interested in power tools and doing these kinds of projects, and this project would pay for that thickness planer.